Right, live streaming now on. It's 11 o'clock.
You are host.
Yep. Okay, just making you a co-host. There we go. Hi, Christine.
Good evening. For me, it's evening. Good day.
That's right. Yes, evening for you, day for me. Lovely to have you back in class.
Thank you. Yes, I could look forward to talking with you.
Yeah, we've got a few new ones this week because tomorrow I've got road trip and Friday I've got a games night, which will be 7 o'clock in the morning for me and it's games night for you. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, well, I can't remember. So I'm not sure what time it is for me tomorrow night.
What do you mean for a road trip?
Either one. I'll have to look at them. I saw them. And Wednesday night's a busy night for me. But you know, if I don't make it tomorrow, I'll definitely do another time because I enjoyed them so much. I sent Liz a picture for you of a heron in the water where I walk that I took last week. It's a little video of a heron.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So I was thinking of you with my pictures, and I heard a lot of birds today, but the tide was out. So they were far away, but what I'll do is take a video because the birds, whatever birds were here today, the sounds were great. So I will send you some. I'm going to turn this light off just a second. So my cat and I are here to meet with you.
Fantastic. I'm delighted your cat is here with you to meet with me. Christine, can I ask a question? Did you come in through your link or did you come in as a live learner?
I came in through the website because I didn't register for the class till about 10 minutes ago. And so, but I didn't get an email. So then I went in for the site. So I don't know if that's called a live learner. If I
it probably will be. It's just interesting because I couldn't get in either. So I'm just inquiring as whether others. Hi, Karen. How are you today?
Karen, good evening.
Oh,
hi.
I'm just set up. Okay,
you're busy setting yourself up. Great. Lovely to have you in class too. Okay. Awesome. Yes.
Sorry to disturb. Can you make sure that you can click on the mute button over there so you will be able to check? Are you able to put yourself on a spotlight? Because I am able to.
Okay, let me just check on that. Okay, right. Is it mute? Oh, mute on here. Yeah, let me just check on this. Spotlight for everyone I've got. Okay, super. Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's now appeared. Thank you. We were trying to find different buttons before the class. So we've now got our different buttons together. There's supposed to be 8 or 9 people in class today, but at the moment we've got the 3 of us. So and James, of course, James, my TA, who is always a wonderful TA to have with me. But today we've got an interesting topic because your school memories, some people have really awesome. I mean, my husband, all he can do is talk about his school days and he's got all these wonderful memories. And I go, he says, and yours? And I go, not quite. So
okay, I'm in your club. My stories are not actually that happy, but nevertheless, it's what happened.
It is what happens. So we're going to talk about the good ones that we remember and maybe the not so good ones that we remember, because it's all part of what made us who we are today. Hi, Jackie. Lovely to have you in class too.
Hello.
That's
Thank
awesome.
You. How you doing?
Doing great. Lovely. Welcome to joining the School Days Brigade.
Okay.
So we all have interesting memories. I think probably for me, I'll wait till I get to school. You'll maybe understand when you see my school and what kind of school I went to as to why I had some interesting memories of school. So let's start to share the screen and let's play with our school memories that we have. Now, with this new computer, life is a lot easier and it's less traumatic.
I'm so glad you got a new computer.
I had to, Christine, I had to make a choice. I am saving for my visa, but it was clicking out of class. I was trying to type and I'd type 2 letters and it would jump out. And it was taking me so long to do any of my prep. And I eventually last Wednesday, I said to Michael, this is it. And I had already been looking at computers. I said, I found one, we're going, we're buying, we're getting, we booked it online. I went and registered, and there's still a few things I'm getting used to. I make a few boo-boos along the way, but on the whole, it's a whole new ball game. So it really has made life a lot easier for me.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, I needed it. Look, the computer was 8 years old, so it probably had decided that it
was time.
Time. And Michael said, buy a desktop. And I said, well, actually, no, if we travel, we can't take our desktops. But if I've got a laptop with us, we can still continue to teach while we are traveling. So that also made it a better idea. Right. So school memories, good memories, bad memories. Who knows? But just as we all know, we learn from each other, and it's lovely. You've all got your cameras on. It makes such a difference. Those joining by live streaming, well, you can't take part. You can only listen. So you may as well join up and be part of it. And we are not paid to promote anything, and we're certainly not promoting products in this particular class. As you know, I live in Perth with my husband, Michael, who's also the coach, a guide. I've been an educator for so long. This morning, I did an origami class, and my teaching of little children came in so handy because I know how I go step by step with them. So it was very easy for me to be able to make the boxes and things we were making because of the speed I had learned to do before. And I enjoy creating and making. I love animals. And of course, being a Get Set Up guide is a bonus. Now, one of the quotes I found very interesting, I don't know if I necessarily totally agree with it, but when we grow up, then we realize our school life is the best moment of our lives. School days are the best days. There's no work pressure, no worry of earning money, as well as the full time of playing and enjoying the life according to our wishes. Well, that wasn't mine, but I'm sure it was other people's. Jackie, was that your way of school? No. Not yours either. So I thought that was such an interesting quote because my husband would probably say, oh, yeah, he went to boarding school all his life. He loved his boarding school. He was telling the grandchildren all the stories of times at boarding school, all the naughty things they did and how exciting it was. And I'm going, my school wasn't like that at all. So we'll find out. Where did you go to school? I went to a school called Parktown Convent. This is a nuns school with nuns, very strict nuns at that. I went to school at the age of 5, so I was very young. And so I was always young for my class. I had just turned 5. My birthday is on Christmas Day and school starts in January. So I was literally just 5 when I went into grade 1 because they didn't have preschool at that age. So I was always lagging behind my classmates. I graduated at 16, which was very young to graduate at, and finished my university before I was 20. before I was 21, I should say. So very, very young when you are doing things like that. But this was a beautiful old school. It was built in 1905. The one thing we loved about it was every year there was a fire drill and the firemen would arrive because the whole building is made of wood, or the original building. And so it is a fire hazard. So they had to make sure that everything worked, that if anything did go up in flames, and one section did about 3 years ago, they had to make sure that you were able to have quick access to everything, because the whole place would go up. The chapel, which comes out in a round tower, that was added afterwards. But the original building is a very beautiful old building. And then slowly they added more and more onto the original building. But these stairs went up to where the nuns slept, and no one went up those red carpet stairs. Those were a no-no. You never went up there at all. So before I carry on, let's hear from you. Christine, where did you go to school?
So I was born and raised in Seattle. And I was born and raised in South Seattle, which is a very diverse community. So I think it's probably very different from your experience, because my neighborhood, the school was very integrated. So I had people from all, different ethnicities. And so it was a great experience for me for my whole life. All my schools were like that. And so I went through, my sister's 4 years older, so I always followed in her footsteps. Oh, you're her little sister. Kindergarten through 12th grade, and then so then college after that. It also, I started out in a town north, but ended up going to the University of Washington, which is the largest university in the state, in Seattle. So basically almost all my education was done right here in Seattle, until I moved to Hawaii.
Right. Okay.
It was, so for the most part, school I enjoyed it. I started wearing glasses when I was 7, which improved my schooling because I can then see.
Yes.
For the most part, I enjoyed junior high. I loved high school. I was a cheerleader. That was probably one of the highlights of my life, because I loved dancing, and that was probably one of the best experiences for high school.
Fantastic. And Karen, where did you go to school?
I'm born and raised in San Francisco. So I was, the time that I went to school is very, very different. The school was in a building where it's one big building. It's kind of like, it reminds me of the place, the story that Dow wrote, Matilda, the story, that kind of.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And I remember the principal was a very strict woman, I might say. Okay. My mom, I was the oldest of 4 kids. Okay. And my little sister wasn't born at the time that I started school, because she's 7.5 years younger than me. But my mom would always get me to school late with my 2 other siblings. And the principal, one day, couldn't stand it, because it's a Wednesday and she's out there, because every Wednesday we have to sing the America the Beautiful, the national song.
National
God Bless
anthem,
America, and all that. Yeah, we had to sing it. But the principal got me that one Wednesday, pulled me, okay, and got me into the office with my siblings and said, "Why are you late?" Now, I'm just 7 years old. What does a 7-year-old know? I mean, it's like, so it was very difficult. And I didn't like it. I was wearing glasses. I couldn't see well. And I had 2 siblings with me. And I was scared, because it's just had these glasses down to her nose. She'll pull me in there. And I'm like, ugh. And it was not a good school. It was not a good fit. And my brother got in a lot of trouble. And my mom finally had to change our schools, okay? And she had to use a neighbor's address so we could go to the other side. I mean, it wasn't that far, but it's actually a little 5-minute walk. But we had to go to the other side of the town for school. And it was okay. But then I just didn't like the teachers. They're the older type. They're very strict. I mean, it's because I was a tiny kid with glasses, and I'm shy, so it didn't help at all. I mean, they just like thought that I didn't know how to speak English. They put me in ESL classes, it's like speech classes and all that. I never liked it. Okay, then I get into middle school. Okay, that's another story. There was a time that they were changing from dresses to pants. I wanted bell bottoms. My mom said, no way you're wearing pants. I hate it. I wanted long hair. My mom had me as short as Shirley Temple with curls, glasses. Okay. And I started getting, that, teenage stuff. I was like, oh my God. And the worst thing, my mom would dress me alike as my sister. That's 18 months younger than me. We both wear the same thing. We look like a flower curtain, going to school. And teenagers, can you stand that? Of course not. You look like fools going to school. Okay. So my mom would buy us a gym suit in middle school, in junior high. We had to wear a gym suit. It's this blue thing, which was absolutely horrible looking on me because I was a small size 12 type of kid at that point. My mom bought me a size 18 to 20. So you can imagine I was swimming in it. Okay. Sue, I'm swimming. Christine, I'm swimming. Jackie, I'm swimming in it. Okay. I couldn't do a thing. And so girls would be picking on me. What is going on? What are you wearing? A clown suit? I mean, oh my God. I hated it. Okay. I hated PE because it just didn't help me to perform. I didn't want to move because I was getting teased. So I told my mom said, don't worry, you're going to grow into it. I never did. I'm only 100 pounds, 5 foot tall. Okay. That doesn't help. Got into high school, had to get braces. The acne comes. That even sets me back even worse. Okay. I mean, it's another step down. I finally got into bell bottoms, but that's one step. But still, I'm not up to like the long hair. There was the long hair that was in. So anyway, I've got some other small good things, but still.
There were lots of others.
Yes.
Absolutely. Oh, goodness me.
I know.
Oh.
But I don't mind talking about it. I don't mind.
No, I don't mind talking about it now. At the time, I didn't, but now I can look back and laugh because,
Exactly.
yeah. And Jackie, where did you go to school?
Okay, I'm originally from Union, South Carolina. I don't know if you know whatever, but I'm from South Carolina, a little small town called Union, very small town. I went to about 4 different schools at 4 different times. I'm like you, I'm a Christmas baby. My birthday is the 15th of December. So I did first grade twice, you might want to say, because I went to school, but they didn't feel like I knew enough to move on. So I had to do first grade twice. But it was really, I guess, because of my age thing. I don't know how it was, but I didn't move right along. I was always behind you. When I got out of school, I was 18, but I was in first grade at the school called New Primary. We had not integrated at that time. And I don't remember. I remember the first grade teacher, her name was Miss Henderson. I think I remember her being a mean lady. I don't remember much about it, but in my opinion, she was mean. That was my first grade. I don't remember what in second and third grade. I probably was at the same school, but I don't remember. But then later on, we went to another school called Corn Street, I think it was. And I was at that school for maybe 5, maybe third, 4th, 5th grade, maybe, I'm not sure, but I was at that school for a while. But one of the problems I had in school is that my mother, she was a school teacher. So all the schools I went to as a young child, except for the first grade, she was at the school. My mother was there. Her brother was a principal. He was at the school at one time. And her sisters were teachers. So most of my lifetime, until I got in high school, my mother was at the school I was going with. And I remember my last name is Jones. And they had another lady at the school named Miss Jones. And they used to I would say, I want my mother, Miss Jones, call her by name. And they said, it was teasing me about the other lady. And it was frustrating me because I wanted my mother, but they were telling me about this other lady. That was not a happy time for me. But when I got in I think I was in junior high school, it wanted me to fight for some reason. I didn't want to fight. This girl was aggravating me. And I was always a timid, quiet, shy little girl. I'm the only girl. I had brothers. I had no sisters. And my mother raised us by herself. And in that particular time, for some reason at recess, something came up. I don't remember what it was, but they wanted me to fight. And I was scared. I promise you, I was seriously scared. But they said, meet them in the girls' bathroom. So I did. I met them in the bathroom, and they started picking me. And I got the best of the little girl. But I stood there, fist balled up, tears rolling, crying. I said, I'll take somebody else. I was ready to fight somebody else. But like I said, it was a hard time going to school because, like I said, I had relatives in all these schools, so I couldn't get into any trouble, basically, because my parents, somebody was there. So when I got to high school, it was okay, but I was always an overweight child. I was a chubby child. I wore big clothes. I weighed almost 200 pounds when I got out of high school, to be honest with you. That was really heavy. And that was a problem. And I remember one time somebody asked me about, saying, how did they ask this question? They knew my mother was a teacher, and I said, they want to know what happened to me. And that hurt because I'm like, what you mean what happened to me? I didn't answer the question, but my father, parents, I knew my father, but like I said, he wasn't around because they separated. But that hurt because I'm like, what happened to me? I'm a product of two people. I don't know my father that well, but at the same time, my father had dropped out of school, is what I heard. But then I was thinking maybe I wasn't smart enough because he quit. But that was just my way of thinking as a child. But I learned that as an adult that I wasn't that way. I was just timid, quiet, and shy because later on when I got out of high school, I came to Charlotte, Central Piedmont, and I studied school, and I graduated there with a GPA of 5.3, I think it was. So it was a better GPA. So it just was a long story. It was hard, quiet, timid, shy, but I got through it. But that's my memory.
But you got through it and you've become the person you are today. Yeah. And that is something that's really special.
And I like the person I am now.
That is awesome. That is the whole thing. You've come through it and you've come out the other side.
Yeah.
I had a problem. I was left-handed. And in those days, you were not left-handed. Well, not in our school. You were not left-handed. So I used to have to take my left hand and sit on my left hand and write with my right hand. And then they would complain that, and we had pen and ink where you dip the pen in the ink.
Wow.
And I dripped ink in the wrong places. And because I was back to front because I wasn't natural. So I got into trouble so often about that. Oh my, and now being a teacher, my handwriting has definitely changed and has become a better handwriting and because of obviously being able using it on the blackboard all the time. But there was some funny. The nuns were really, really strict. The nuns were, and I went back to that school right up to the end of my schooling. So it was the only school I knew.
Wow.
But they were really strict with you as to what you had to do and how you had to do things. And so they did have some lay teachers. Amongst them, there were some very nice lay teachers, but the majority were the nuns. And there was one nun called Sister Helen. And we used to call her Helicopter because she used to ride the tractor up and down the fields with her habit flying behind her, and off she would go on this tractor. But she also had a whip that she used to swing above her head. And if you were in trouble with her, you got it across the knuckles or across the hand. And I used to go to school by bus. My father caught the same bus as me, and I had to be very careful to not be downstairs with him because I was adopted and he was much older. My parents adopted me when they were well in their 40s, and at that stage that was quite strange. So they were like grandparents. But my dad had a heart condition, and he always wore a hat and a stick, and off he went. And we would get on the bus. And one day he got on and there were no seats. Nothing doing to my father. He sat on one of the young students because they hadn't got up. Well, after that, I made sure I was nowhere near him on the bus. I would go upstairs on the bus because I didn't want to be associated with this man because I would get into trouble at school because it was an all-girls school and girls can be really catty. But he chose to, after that, every time he got on the bus, all the students stood up until he took his seat, and then everybody sat back down again. But I made sure he wasn't my father because I did not want to get in. But we were late for school. There was quite a few of us, there were about 6 of us, and we were lined up by helicopter for our hand and the whippy thing that she had. And I got it, and then she was called away and none of the others got it. And I remembered that so clearly because it wasn't fair. I was the only one who got it that day and nobody else. And it's silly things like that you remember. You know, you remember all the but as I said, I was always a chubby child as well. I was young for the class, and so I wasn't in the in crowd. I was very shy, and I would rather just sort of disappear into the wallpaper than be the center of attraction or anything like that. When I started to be a teacher, I had to actually force myself to talk to the parents. I could do it to kids, but to talk to the parents was a real effort, to be comfortable talking with people. But after 40 years, you can do it. But it was, I still, if I go into a room of people I don't know, I'll just withdraw and observe, because that's me. But yeah, it was a very interesting life, being an only child, being in a all girls convent school. So it was they were really strict. The nuns were incredibly strict. And of course, there were all these stories of ghosts and things around the school. So even though there were students who were boarders in a different section, they would tell stories that were maybe not necessarily true, but they frightened all the little ones. And probably the one thing I remember very vividly, I was 7 at that stage. One of the nuns died, and so they made us all go to the funeral. The whole school went to the funeral, which was fine, except that they had an open casket that you had to walk past. I'd never seen a dead body in my life, and here you walk past this dead nun on your way to your seat within the chapel. I still remember that face. It's still there all these years later. It was my first dead face. And I just didn't want to see another one after that. But it was something that they just took for granted, that everybody would accept walking past a dead body.
You didn't get your parents' permission to
No,
go?
no.
Some
The
parents
entire
don't want the kids to go to funerals.
Wow.
Well,
No,
my
this
parents
is-
would have
no,
definitely said no, but the nuns didn't even
Mine would
think
say no.
about that.
if
No, my
she's in
parents
a-
would
if
have said
she's in-
no.
In
Yeah,
fact, my dad took us to the cemetery when I was about 6 or 7. He said, "Your grandfather's asleep." It was a cemetery. I didn't know what he meant by asleep. And I go, "How long is he sleeping?" He said, "Don't ask, he's sleeping."
Wow.
So I know.
Oh, it's beautiful what parents will tell their kids and the children. You
Believe
take
them.
it at face value. You take it as face value.
Wow.
That's a wow.
Like all these years, I've been thinking my grandfather's sleeping. For how long? Rumpelstiltskin?
Oh, he's absolutely. But parents do tell their children the strangest things. I was told a cow, the 4 udders that they have, 3 are milk and 1 is Coca-Cola. And I was trying desperately to get the Coca-Cola out, the Coca-Cola one. And when I tried to milk a cow, there was no Coca-Cola. I was so disappointed.
Oh, Jesus. No.
We get told strange things along the way. Everybody has their own ways of telling things. So let's just go back to where we were.
Sorry, I diverted you.
No. The diverse is there. Now I want to know your best memories. Here are a few sayings which are quite fun. We didn't realize we were making memories. We just knew we were having fun, which is perfectly true of many things, not necessarily school. And memories you've made with friends, those memories become dreams because they disappear. Your friends that you had at school, they've moved on, they're in different places. And so they are no longer maybe part of your circle. And that's one of the classes Michael's going to be doing, is how to find your old friends, people from your alumni and things like that. He's going to show you how to start looking for them and maybe hooking up with people that you had as friends so long ago. If somebody remembers that cricket with friends, with a paper ball, an exam board, that was your cricket ball and your cricket bats. We used to play with weird and wonderful things too. We used what we had to play different games and things like that. So let's see. Christine, what's your best memory or your worst or combination?
I I actually think high school
Mhm.
because I was very involved. Oh, I got contacts when I was a sophomore in high school. So I felt totally
Ah.
different getting contacts because my glasses are very, very thick. So then I became very active in school, and I was in charge. I decided to be the dance chair. So I arranged the dances because I love to dance. I've been raised, my parents were ballroom dancing teachers, so I was raised ballroom
Ooh.
dancing. They taught in our basement, so I was there. And so I loved to dance. I loved music. And then, so I was very active in school. So I think I liked junior high too, but academics was a little bit harder for me. But then high school was better for me. So yeah, I guess those are, for our generation, at least in the United States, we weren't allowed to participate in sports because there were no girl sports. I don't know if that's true in South Africa, but it was sure true in the United States.
No, we did have sports. I played hockey and swam and tennis. No, we had girl sports.
Yep, no, no
Ah,
sports. So,
interesting.
yeah, that's why being a cheerleader was the only sport.
Right. Well, that was a good sport to take up.
Yeah,
Then at least you
yeah.
had a sport that you could
I
do.
had something, yeah.
Yeah. And Karen, what is your best memory?
Oh gosh, I can't.
A good one. We've got lots of bad ones between us.
I really can't think of anything really good. Okay. This was not a good thing, but it ended up good. Okay. I was about 7 and I had very thick Coke bottle glasses. I mean, I was yelled at by kids. You Coke 4-eye, Coke bottle, whatever they call me. And one boy in my class said to me, one day he's going to get me. Okay. And I said to myself, I didn't think of anything. But one day after school, he did take the opportunity. I was walking down a hill from the school and I was alone. Somehow my siblings weren't there. And he pushed me down the hill and my glasses broke. Okay, I was bleeding. It was just awful. I couldn't see. But I had one classmate and her name is Stephanie. I really remember her well. Actually, I do want to try to find her. Okay, I know her name.
Okay, good. You'll come to Michael's class and you can find out.
I do want to find her, but I've been trying to find her, but I can't. I don't know where. Anyway, her mom had a dog grooming place, a shop that was half a block from the school. And anyway, Stephanie came to my aid and she brought me to her mom's store to clean me up and to bring me home. And that was my really true experience of a really friend at that young age that would come to my help. It being the way it happened, I didn't think anybody wanted to deal with me. Broken glasses, I mean, and bleeding and everything. But she stepped up the platter, and it's up to this day. I still I still think of her. In fact, just recently, I just thought about her, but I have no other way of tracking it because that pet store is no longer here. Plus, also, it's been years. How many decades ago?
Well, there are ways. Michael's been researching that. So maybe go to his class. I think it's in 2 weeks' time.
Okay.
And find out how to find people from your school days.
Yeah.
And did the boy get into trouble that pushed you
No,
down?
because the principal said it was a per accident, but it was not. Because
Of course
he
it
has
wasn't.
teased me before. He teased me. He called me a 4-eye. He's going to get me. He said, I'm going to get you. And I know what I heard. Okay. But even if I was so shy, I was scared. Okay. So the principal said to my mother, it was a per accident. Besides, no, don't forget this principal didn't like my mom now because we were the ones that coming in late. Okay. So the principal said, it's an accident. Can't have people pay for the glasses. Consider it just, wrong place, wrong time type of thing. But I knew in my heart it was not. Okay. But what can I do? You're 7 years old. What can you do?
You can't. Look, what goes around comes around.
Yes.
Your karma will come and take you.
Thank you.
Karma will come back. Yeah.
But I do not
Karma will
tolerate
come
it.
back.
I do not tolerate right now. I am a substitute teacher right now. And I see any kid being bullied, I will step up to the platter and I will get to the point. Okay. I will not allow it. I just cannot see that. I don't care it's verbal. I don't care it's physical, or I don't care it's not on purpose. I will not allow any kind of thing. And I will make.
I wouldn't
I have to
either
write a
because
letter.
of that.
Yeah, I always have, because I'm a substitute teacher, I can't enforce much discipline if it's nothing severe. I have him write him or her write an apology letter for not being so nice to a person. That's it. I mean, I hope the child learns. Usually, and then they always ask me, Miss Moy, I'm going to get in trouble. I go, well, you wrote a letter. You understand what you did wrong, okay? We just don't pick on people like this. No reason. We're here, we're all
Yeah.
friends. I always tell them. Because I've learned I don't want people picking on anybody anymore. I've been picked on, so I don't want it to perpetuate. That's all.
Yeah, I can understand that fully because I'm exactly the same. I was picked on a lot. And so, yeah, that is by far something that you don't want to happen to others. That is something that you don't accept from anybody. And no. And Jackie, what was your best thing that you had at school?
The second one, the best thing I'm gonna say for last, one thing I remember, which was, I don't know if it was best, but it kind of it was fun for me, which was not a good thing. But what happened was, this particular day, my mother was not at school, so I guess I felt like I could do what I wanted to and get away with it. And so I don't know what I did in class, but I remember the teacher's name. His name was Reverend Ezel, and he said, "Jones, come here." I don't know what I did to make him aggravated, but I knew he said, "Come here." So he was trying to. And I was trying to tell him my mother wasn't there, but he wouldn't listen to me. I kept saying my mother, I kept trying to get there. He said, come on. He went down to where her room was, and she wasn't there. And I told him I tried to tell she wasn't here. But I cut up because I felt like I could cut up because she wasn't there. But the best memories when I did, because I struggled through school because like I said, I was quiet, timid, shy. But when I did graduate, even though I was almost 200 pounds, I got pictures that I had my cap and gown was white, and we did it outside for some reason. I was marched across the field. Somebody took some pictures. That was the best memory that I got out of high school. Not with the best grades, but I got out of high school. I graduated.
You got out of high school. Yeah. That is the important thing. You got out. So I that was out. Awesome. Yeah, you got out of high school. That is awesome. And Bina, is there something that you can remember from your school days that was something really nice from school days? Or Manju? Maybe you're a little shy in our first class. Not a problem. Right. So there are lots of lovely. My best memory is when I got the better of the nuns. Mm-hmm. The headmistress took us, I was in year 12, the final year, and we were prefects of different sections, and I was in charge of the little babies who were in a little house, not part of the main school. And so I would have to go down there in the morning and have a look at them, talk to them, and then get back in time for the first class. And sometimes I would be delayed and I would slip in very quickly and quietly at the back into my place. And the head wasn't that keen on me at the best of times, but she made a comment that I was always late for her class to the other students. She was a bit derogatory, and of course they told me. So the following day I made quite sure I was there, but I hid under my desk. And she came in and she made the same kind of comment again about me. And I climbed out from under the desk and said, I'm actually here. And she turned puce and left the classroom. And we didn't have a class for that whole class. She never came back. So I got the better of her in the end because I'd had enough of being picked on. So that was my way of getting back. I knew I would probably get into serious trouble, but she didn't. She never said another word about that. And after that, she was actually quite decent to me. And so in the end, I ended up getting the better of that. But yes, school days are definitely the days that home economics class was, for me, probably the class I enjoyed the most. My mother couldn't cook to save her life. She never put any seasoning into food. My father and I covered everything in tomato sauce in order to have some flavor. He ate lunch at work so that he didn't have to eat too much at night. And so when I started home economics classes, I was able to learn about using spices and being able to make things that actually tasted not like cardboard. And so I think those were probably my best classes because I walked away with being able to do something along those lines. And so, yes, the school day, I've actually found a book of my mother's when I was cleaning out when she died. It was a little notebook, and it had how much money they'd was like a journal of money journal. And to send me to school for a whole year was £12. And that was at a private school. Now, £12 is not even $12 a year. And that was, and for them, it was very expensive. It was an elite school that I was sent to. I discovered in the end, I didn't go to the local government school because they wouldn't accept me till I was 7. And I think mother wanted me out of the house. So she found a school that would accept me at 5. And so that's how I ended up going to school very young. But I do understand people who've got parents that are teachers, because I taught the same school as my children. And I would try and stay out of things, but often people would, the children would say, oh, but your mother is there, or your mother says, or something like that. And so it is really difficult. And my youngest son, I think, probably learned the best or worst lesson of his life. He would never get dressed in time, and I had to be at school on time. So I said to him, I'm going to take you in your pajamas, and that's just going to be it, because there's no way I can be late for class. So he continued to not. So the one day I said, that's it, in the car, and we're going. And he thought I had his clothes in the car, but I didn't. And he had to spend the whole day in his pajamas at school. He has never been late since then, ever. He is always on time for anything and everything. So it might have been a hard lesson at the time, and I feel really bad about doing it now. But at the time, I was desperate because he made us late every day, and I can't afford to be late for school. So, now when I ask him about it, he says, I don't remember that. I said, well, why are you always on time? He says, I don't know. There's something that tells me I have to always be on time. I thought, you've blocked out why, but you know how.
Well, I think you should write a parenting book. And when your children do not get up, they go in their pajamas. Because look, it was life-changing for him. He really got it. Because you know how many times parents just keep repeating and repeating. And I know as a teacher, I haven't been a parent, but because I've been a teacher, elementary teacher, you just keep trying to find out what gets through to them, and you found it.
I found it. Good and proper. I found it. They definitely had. So they had. My young son had rough years in the primary school. He was very much a loner, but when he got to high school, he was in the school play, and that suddenly did something. He's now an actor. He's now an actor in South Africa, and his final year, he was one of the most popular boys in the whole school. And yet when he was in primary school, he couldn't have been he was at the other end of the line, put it that way. He was at the bottom of the line. So it's amazing how certain things, as you grow up and as you mature, how things happen and how things do. He made his teachers' lives a misery because he was incredibly clever. So he would sit right at the back. And then if the teacher made a mistake, he would tap his pencil on the desk. All the boys knew, if he was at a boys' school, all the boys knew exactly what that tap meant, that he was about to put up his hand and say to the teacher, you're wrong. And as much as I tried to tell him that you don't do that, he never learned that one. And he would then show the teacher where they were wrong. Now, some of the teachers twigged to this, and when they heard that pencil, they'd say, we'll see you after school, Murray. And that was it. Because then they could talk to him about whatever it was. But he was a nightmare as a student at school for that, because he was 100% right with what he was going to say, but you just don't do that to a teacher. So I suppose he got it from me when I stood up to my teachers. That was something he got out of me. So maybe it wasn't such a good thing to do.
Like mother, like son.
In hindsight, yeah. Oh, well. Right. So, school days are amazing days. And I think that even though we have a lot of stories where things didn't work out, things were not the greatest, we can still look back and laugh at them and still look back on now, talk about them and be able to speak about things like that. And so I think school days have, for 90% of people, are very much mixed. There's the very good and there's the very bad and there's the in between, and it all rolls into one school experience, school memories that we have. So yeah, school days and school memories are definitely something. But going to a nun school, ooh, but and my boys went to an all boys school, but it wasn't the same sort of strictness or whatever that we had with the nuns, and with those flying habits and you never knew what was going on underneath that habit. Did they have hair? Didn't they have hair? Yeah. And they all looked like little round tubby creatures, and you never knew whether they were thin or fat behind underneath that, because it was all under the habit. So you had no idea what went on under a habit. Oh, right. Christine, one more story from you.
Trying to think. Do you want to go into someone else?
Yes, okay. Karen?
I'm thinking still.
And Jackie?
I'm kind of like them. It's hard to come up with another one. Let me think.
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with a good one. See, that's
so we end up on a high.
Okay, let me think. One time in school, they had, what do you call it? When you have to exercise, they had some kind of program outside. And all of us had to wear, back in those days, they had one-piece things for exercise things you wear, and the girls had white. I guess the boys had white. We all had to wear white sneakers, white shoes. White socks, and I think the uniform was white shorts and white, everything white, and do some kind of performing with a group outside in front of parents, I guess it was. I remember that, but I don't remember fully, but I remember doing it. I think that was fun for me, but at the same time, I don't remember. I was, like I said, I was a chubby child, so I had a chubby outfit for myself, but I think it's something that I remember.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, going to perform outside and be part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a group thing.
Christine, Karen?
So
you know what? I remember one. Okay. I know the year that I graduated from junior high school, it was the year that the girls it was the style to wear a long dress. You don't wear a short dress to graduation, okay? And I really wanted one. But my mom she wasn't working, and it was only my dad. My dad had a frame shop, so he wasn't making that much money. And there were 4 of us kids. But I really didn't want to go to the graduation if I didn't have a long dress. Okay. So I told my mom, I'm not going. And she goes, you need to go. I go, well, I don't have a new dress. I'm not going. So I had to fight her. And she finally realized that she did wake up and she did take me shopping. And we did get one. And it was just my happiest time in middle school. In junior high, because I had braces and I had acne going on. But just to get that, I remember it was turquoise and white checkerboard, plaid. It's just the design in it kind of looked like an apron type. It had this ruffled around the arm.
Yes, ruffles over the top.
Bodice or something, yeah. But I really wanted it so bad. But I got it.
You got it. Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. That makes for such a lovely thing. And Christine, have you thought of something?
Yes, I did. So I think one of the best parts was I played the violin. And so from 4th grade through junior high school, so for 6 years playing the violin, so being a part of an orchestra was really fun. And I learned so much and the music appreciation from playing an instrument was so powerful, because now, listening to music, especially going to symphonies, I just appreciate music so much. And I'm so grateful that I spent that time learning to play an instrument.
Oh, fantastic. You see, we've all got good things, even if we sometimes are a little clouded over the things that were not so good. But in there are all sorts of little good things that come out of it. Wow, this has been quite it was the first of these classes that we've had, and it went off so well. But just a little giggle at the end. Do you remember the unnecessary pee breaks and water breaks because you were bored in class? Can I go to the bathroom? Can I go to the bathroom? Because you want to get out of the classroom. We used to fight for silly things with our friends. Our fights were either for the window seat or the pencil or the sharpener. Counting the number of people before you to know which paragraph you would be reading.
That's what I did. That's my teacher.
Too.
Oh my God. And I hated it because my last name is in the beginning, the ABC order. I would always be the first one, first five. I hated it.
I was the middle. I was always the middle.
So you could count your way down. I always counted my way down as well. I counted my way down because I otherwise I couldn't read it. Hiding behind a friend when the teacher asks questions. Yeah, I'm not here. My friend's there, not me. I'm not here.
I'd be first to hide. I'm crossing my fingers that the teacher doesn't call me.
And having lunch on the last seat, hiding from the teacher, eating your lunch quietly when you shouldn't be eating in class because you are hungry. I just thought some of those were rather fun ideas for that they're just some fun and things for us to be able to remember as part of being at school. Well, thank you so much for being in class. I hope you had some fun for this hour and were able to enjoy it being with us. Tomorrow we've got movie trivia and road trips. Both of them are on tomorrow. We've got games nights, categories on Friday at 7 a.m. in the morning for me. So some of you it'll be 7 p.m. Thursday night. For me, it's Friday. For you, it's Thursday. And so there are lots of brand new ones starting. And next week, it's still not up, but it should be up today. All the rest of my schedule's up, but not the one at 7 a.m. 7 p.m. your Thursday night, which is Welcome to Perth. That one will be up shortly, so you will now hear a little bit about Perth, because most people say they've forgotten that everybody knows Sydney and Brisbane and the ones on the East Coast, and very few people know what's happening on the West Coast. So I will be welcoming you to Perth there. So there's some fun ones, but please share any thoughts you've got along with us and any other new ideas. Thanks to Christine, we went for the idea of Perth. So that was awesome. I will send you your little class notes and some things for interest. Any feedback is always great to receive and know that we are going in the right direction, particularly when it's new classes. When you're booking, you can invite a friend along with you, which is always great. You can chat about it afterwards. And definitely, Karen, look for the class about finding friends. It's coming up. I think it's next week it's coming up.
Okay. Look out.
And then you can find out about your see how you can find that friend of yours. Yeah. And then anything you want, the best place to go, of course, is at help at Get Set Up. Any queries, any new ideas, anything like that is welcome there. So thank you everyone for being in class today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. This was very delightful to hear about such different experiences.
Yeah.
Very, very different experiences.
Yes, definitely.
People do have, and of course the different places, even different schools within the same area have different experiences and are able to do things like that. So yeah, it was.
Three of us are teachers. Are you a teacher, Jackie?
No.
Okay, so the three of us
I worked in childcare as an adult, but not like teachers like you guys. No.
Yeah, but you're working with children. You're still working with
the little ones, but the daycare scene, the little ones. Somebody could talk back to you.
Well, you're teaching. If you're working with children,
true. You're teaching. I'm retired now. I don't do it anymore.
Well, you're teaching.
Yeah,
you're teaching.
Okay,
yeah.
I
Lovely.
did.
Yeah, and of course your parents were teachers, so therefore
Yeah.
you're very much into
Yeah,
that sort of
my
world.
mother, whole side of her family. Oh my God, all of them.
Oh, well, thank you, everyone. I hope you
Thank you, Sue.
enjoyed our
Thank you.
hour. Look forward to seeing you
Okay.
again.
Thanks
Okay,
so much.
bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.